Hey guys, hope you are well. My name is Rob, welcome to Kinetic Rugby League, and in this video I'll be giving you my Super League Round 12 predictions. Now if you do have your own predictions, do let me know in the comments down below. It would be interesting to hear your thoughts. Quick update for next week. I'm going to be on holiday in sunny Turkey, but I will still try and upload. So for next week, this typical structure will look a little bit less professional, and it'll basically be a recording from my phone. So enjoy that when it comes next week. But yeah, let's crack on with the first game of round 12. Kicking things off, we have the Huddersfield Giants taking on the Leigh Leopards, starting with league position. Huddersfield sit in 8th, Leigh sit in 9th. In terms of recent form, both have won 2 in their last 5 Super League games, and currently in my power rankings, I would have Huddersfield still in 8th after the Challenge Cup round, and Leigh still in 6th. Taking a look at player availability, Savelio and Hill are potentially going to be available for selection this week, and Adam Swift is to be confirmed on, when he'll be available for selection, so we'll have to wait and see about that one. On the side of Leigh, O'Brien and Norman, both potentially able to be selected this week, and there's still no John Asiata, of course, for the next couple of weeks. Huddersfield were an absolute shambles against Warrington on the weekend. They offered absolutely nothing in attack and defensively all over the place. Very easy to move them around. Some poor defensive efforts as well. There was just no structure, no kicking game. The chases were sometimes okay, but on the most part very weak. Yeah, they just didn't offer a lot in every department really. And Leigh, based on their form, especially their performance against Salford, was so unexpected for me. I thought that they might win that game. I predicted Salford to win it. I thought that Leigh could still win it, but not dominate like that. But fair play to them, and Leigh have really started to pick things up the last couple of weeks, and Huddersfield still showing their inconsistencies. I thought they might pose a challenge for Warrington in some areas, but they just didn't offer anything anywhere, and Leigh just clearly have been the better team over the last few weeks. Leigh getting all their key players back in, of course no Asiata still, but most of their key players in. They've adapted, they've learned how to deal with that, and they're firing at the moment. They still aren't without issues. There's still some moments defensively they can be opened up, and it's not always perfect in attack, but for the most part it's a lot more consistent, so much more frequent than what Huddersfield are producing. I think they can bounce back, because I still think on their best day Huddersfield can be a strong team, but they'll probably be knocked on confidence after that game against Warrington, and Leigh will probably feel quite confident after their performance against Salford, and going into this one should be well up for it. So I'm going to go with Huddersfield Giants 12, Leigh Leopards 28. Next up we have the Castleford Tigers taking on Hull FC, starting with league position. Castleford are in 10th, Hull FC are in 11th. In terms of recent Super League form, Castleford have won 2 in their last 5, Hull FC have won 0 in their last 5. And in terms of my power rankings, I still have Castleford in 10th and Hull FC in 12th. In terms of player availability, Tex Hoy is expected to be available for selection, but he had a slight nagging injury, I believe. Alex Mellor also, same situation. He should be available for selection. Jacob Miller is to be confirmed when he'll be right as rain. On the side of Hull FC, Brad Fash is 50-50 for this round, and Danny Houghton is expected to be available for selection. Castleford, I still think are on the up. They've, the last couple of weeks they've had some good moments and some very poor moments. But I think compared to what Hull FC's been offering, yes, they had one strong attempt against Leeds, but that's against a Leeds team that is looking very poor at the moment. Hull FC still not offering much in attack. If Tex Hoy for whatever reason isn't playing, then I think there's the potential of a narrow gap here, but I'd still favour Castleford in that case anyway. But if Tex Hoy, is available, there's nothing to worry about. Missing Jacob Miller will be a big miss, but I think Tex Hoy is is their most important player right now in their transition to try and push for a playoff spot. Whether they'll do that, I don't know. But if they have their full team available, if Miller is available and if Hoy is available, I don't see Hull FC coming anywhere near. There's still a few issues in attack for Castleford, but when they're firing, when they're clicking, they can put up points, and especially against teams near the bottom, Hull FC are one of those teams near the bottom. And Castleford can also start to compete towards the middle as well. Hull FC defensively are in shambles. Even if there's no Miller or Tex Hoy, it could be a narrow victory towards Castleford, but I'd still see the potential in Hull FC getting absolutely battered. The fight that they had against Leeds was still decent, but that was a few weeks ago. And, they'll want to turn things around after, handing London their first win. You'd like to think that teams like that would want to bounce back, or any team would want to bounce back like that, but I just don't think they've got the quality to do that. They lost because they're just not good enough, simple as that. It's not one of those where they had a bit of an off day. They're just not good enough to compete, and I think Castleford are just far, far superior. So there could be a battering, but I don't think, just on the benefit of the doubt that Tex Hoy is questionable and Jacob Miller's questionable, that's all that's being reported at the moment, is that they should be back or Jacob Miller's to be confirmed. That's all I know at the moment. But yeah, I'm going to go with Castleford Tigers 26, Hull FC 6. Next up, we have St Helens taking on Leeds Rhinos, starting with league positions. Saints are in 2nd, Leeds are in 7th. In terms of recent form, Saints have won 3 in their last 5 Super League games, and Leeds have won 2 in their last 5 Super League games. In terms of my power rankings, I still have Saints in 2nd, and I still have Leeds in 9th. For player availability, there's no Passy or Walmsley, and Knowles is to be confirmed for St Helens, so we'll see when he's available. On the side of Leeds, there's Holroyd, Newman and Croft should all be available for selection in this round. In the 2 previous fixtures that these guys have played, Leeds have been able to put together a competitive half. So at some point, they've put together a competitive half. Normally, it's the first one. I do think, given the quality they've got in their team, they still have the potential to slow down the progress of Saints, which I will give them the benefit of the doubt and say that based on the 2 previous rounds, they seem to be a somewhat decent matchup at times, and Saints weren't really free-flowing at the time in attack as well. They seem to have kind of sorted that out. So I think Leeds will offer some sort of resistance and some sort of challenge in the first half, and I think they'll pick up all their points in the first half, pretty much. Saints I think will still have the lead going into the half, but not look as comfortable. Second half, they'll come out and really dominate. But I will give Leeds a benefit of the doubt just based on the player quality that they've got. Brodie Croft is going to be huge in creating opportunities. Harry Newman, having him back in, is going to be massive as well. So if they can get him producing opportunities on the edges, that would be incredibly huge for them. The forward pack's going to be important, with Saints potentially being a little bit light or lighter than normal. There's a great chance for some of those big props on the side of Leeds to really build up the speed through the middle of the park. And if they can get that, get the pace up, Frawley can work off the back of that, not have to worry too much about the kicking game. Croft can certainly do a lot off the back of that, and Lockie Miller as well. Croft and Miller can really execute together down that right edge, and then connect with Harry Newman, really get some things going. So I think there is a chance of resistance in the first half from Leeds, but after that, I think as the game goes further on, Saints will just start to come into their own and just start to run away with it. So I'm going to go with St Helens 34, Leeds Rhinos 10. Next up, we have Catalans Dragons taking on Warrington Wolves. Starting with league position, Catalans sit in 4th, Warrington sit in 3rd. In terms of recent form in Super League, Catalans have won 3 in their last 5, Warrington have won 4 in their last 5. And in terms of power rankings, I have Catalans still in 3rd, and I've moved Warrington up to 4th in the power rankings after that Challenge Cup round. For player availability, Benjamin Garcia is expected to be available for selection, and there are no major misses right now for Warrington for their squad. These guys have played twice, and on both occasions I have backed Warrington to win. It was by, I want to say 4 points in the first round, and then I think maybe by 2 or 4 points the second time around. But yeah, in both instances, Warrington were a better team than they were the first time. Catalans was still pretty solid all round. At this point, Catalans are still feeling a little bit inconsistent for me. They're still strong, but against the top teams, I don't know what kind of team we're getting. I think against the bottom 3, they'll dominate. Against the teams in the middle, they'll be fine for the most part. And then against the top teams, it's a 50-50 for me on whether they'll compete or not. Warrington, at this point, this is the most confident I felt about them against Catalans this season. And this is a real statement game, because they don't want to be potentially going up against Catalans in playoffs, having played them 3 times and not winning a single time. Because if they had to face them in playoffs, I think we've lost 3 out of 3. They need some kind of confidence boost, especially leading up to the Challenge Cup, because obviously they'll face Wigan next week and then Wigan in the final. But this is important to kind of break that losing streak against Catalans. So it's going to be huge for confidence. And based on the lack of errors that Warrington have been producing, especially in the opening half an hour of the game against Huddersfield and the game against Hull KR, they will have a much better platform going forward. So the 18-0 deficit that they had very early on, a few rounds back, when these two teams last played, I don't think is going to happen again. And the errors against Huddersfield were extremely limited. I don't think there was like a genuine error that you could fault in the first half an hour. And that's back to back between, against Hull KR and Huddersfield. Catalans still have some issues defensively and can be very one-dimensional in attack. Warrington are finding ways to open up all teams at the moment. And yeah, as I said, this is the most confident I've been about them taking on. Most confident I've been about Warrington taking on Catalans this season. So I'm going to back them for the 3rd time in the hopes that they can actually prove me right. So I'm going to go with Catalans Dragons 20, Warrington Wolves 30. Next up, we have Salford Red Devils taking on Wigan Warriors. Starting with league position, Salford are in 6th, Wigan in 1st. In terms of recent form in Super League, Salford have won 3 in their last 5 Super League games. Wigan have won 4 in their last 5 Super League games. For my power rankings, I still have Salford in 7th and I still have Wigan in 1st. For player availability, Mellor, Shorrocks and Ormonroyd are all to be confirmed when they'll be available. And for Wigan, Willie Isa is the only player that's to be confirmed at the moment on their injury list. I think Salford will have, they'll offer some resistance. I think this will be a little bit similar to Leeds and Saints, but I think Salford will probably put up more points and restrict Wigan's points more than Leeds will against Saints. Salford put in a cracking effort against Wigan a few months ago, and some of their performances over the last few weeks have been really strong, a lot more consistent, executing better and limiting points, especially against Huddersfield, who, as I've already referenced, are up and down, but can be strong in attack when they're clicking, and Warrington, who had really picked up some form. Pretty abysmal effort against Leigh, of course, but Salford are one of those teams that even though, Wigan are firing, or let's say Saints are completely firing and they haven't had their issues, Salford is still a team to me that won't allow things to get too far out of control. I think the game last week is going to be very rare for them this season. I don't think that's going to happen too many times. Obviously, it's happened against Hull KR in the Challenge Cup and then against Leigh, but I don't think we'll see that too many times. And they are a team that can show up to the occasion. So I think that they will offer some resistance, but the attack and the way that Wigan are flowing at the moment with the ball is just on a completely different level. They will be fine in this game. I don't really see a narrow margin here, but Salford could always surprise me. I think they've got the players to do it. I think they've got the coach to really compete in this game as well, but just based on the defensive efforts from Wigan and the attacking structure and flow that they've been providing over the last few weeks, they've really stepped up and started to look like the Wigan that we expected them to be going into this season. So I'm going to go with Salford Red Devils 14, Wigan Warriors 30. And finally, for this round, we have London Broncos taking on Hull Kingston Rovers, starting with league position. London sit in 12th, Hull KR sit in 5th. In terms of recent form in Super League, London have only won 1 in their last 5, and Hull KR have won 3 in their last 5 Super League games. In terms of power rankings, I have London still in 11th, and Hull KR dropped down to 5th. In terms of player availability, Rourke, Purata and Lavelle, apologies, are all to be confirmed, but expected to be available for selection. On the side of Hull KR, Gildart is still out for a few more weeks. Tanganoa and Hadley both to be confirmed when they'll be available for selection. And Burgess has an unconfirmed HIA on the last report I checked. Fair play to London on their win last time out. Huge for them, huge for their confidence, and that must must mean a lot. But I think kind of the way I was talking about Hull FC before, and them not being the kind of team where it's like, oh, that's an unexpected loss, they'll turn it around the next week. Hull KR are a team where after a big loss or an unexpected loss, I don't think the loss was unexpected against Wigan per se, but it was the fashion of the loss, the magnitude of the loss was so unexpected. So given that kind of performance that they had on both sides of the ball, they will be ready to go for this. Like, they will not want to slip up again. They are probably at a point now where people will maybe take them a little bit less seriously than they did a few weeks back. But at this point now, this is a great opportunity for Hull KR to really demolish a team and send a statement out to the rest of the league that we are still to be taken seriously. I know it's only against London, but they will want to put up a ridiculous number of points this week. And I think London will really struggle in stopping the attacking flow that Hull KR can put out there. As long as they're completing sets, kicking accurately and chasing well, Hull KR will absolutely dominate against London. I would still like to see London kind of back up the performance against Hull FC. It's probably not going to come with a win unless there's key injuries and sin bins, red cards, all that good stuff. But I would just like to see London back it up with a strong performance just to keep that confidence alive and maybe start to chip away and maybe even overtake Hull FC at some point. But yeah, Hull KR will just be too strong in all areas. Yeah. Great job last week for London, but I think that's going to come crashing down a bit. Awful job from Hull KR, but they'll be out for revenge. Obviously, this isn't a revenge game, but in terms of just trying to turn things around. So I'm going to go with London Broncos 6, Hull Kingston Rovers 40. So that's going to be it for my Super League Round 12 predictions. If you have your own, do let me know in the comments down below. In terms of my winners' confidence, I'm at about 85%. I think the Warrington game could go either way. I think maybe Wigan will get some resistance from Salford. Castleford might do something stupid against Hull FC. We'll have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, 85% in terms of winners' confidence. As mentioned, I'll do my best to get the videos uploaded next week whilst I'm away. But yeah, if you have your own, do let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like. It really does help to get the video out there to more people. And subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with more Rugby League content. But that's going to be it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.